All right, y'all. Welcome back. My name's Jake Green. I'm here with Sean Kennedy. We have had Sean on the show before in the past as a guest on like full episodes of the show, but today we're shooting interviews here at the convention for the Libertarian Party in 2026. Sean, welcome to the show, man.
Thank you, Jake. I appreciate you having me on.
Heck yeah.
We have been talking for like a couple of years, it feels like, on and off, and you guys had me on so early, and I really appreciate it, and I'm so happy to see you guys here at the LNC, just getting tons of footage and talking to tons of great people, so I appreciate you having me on, man.
Dude, it's been a lot of fun. We always love having you on. Whenever Zach, because it was Zach Varnell that got you on the show the first time,
Yep.
And then every time after that, he'd be like, "Do we need somebody else? I can get Sean." I'd be like, "Yes, get Sean. He's a great guest."
I love going on talking to you guys. You guys are fun to talk to. You're fun to hang. I don't appreciate getting my ass kicked in trivia every single time. But outside of that, no, you guys are great. Like, we've had some really cool conversations, and you guys just put on a good show. It's fun to watch, so appreciate it.
Have you been on a show since Zane took over trivia?
I was on a show when trivia was almost stopped because of Zane.
Yeah, no. We ended up making him the guy who conducts the trivia.
I've been on since he's been conducting trivia,
Yeah.
which felt better.
Better.
And we had a good time. Like,
Nice.
every time I come on, I have a great time with you guys. Have a couple of drinks,
Yeah.
talk about what's going on, and it's just a blast.
Heck yeah. You have a role in the LP National, so can you tell us what that is?
Yeah, so my LP National role, I'm the vice chair of the Candidate Support Committee, which I really love doing because I was a candidate at one time and successfully got elected. And in April, I got elected actually as the vice president of my town council. I live in a town of 30,000 people. And my fellow councilors felt that I was a good fit to be the vice president of the council, which was awesome. The support was great. And it's been fun to run locally. It's been fun to be involved locally and involved in the LP outside of that. And, all in all, just trying to grow and, push good messaging out as much as I can and do some work.
Heck yeah. What is that like? Because there aren't tons of libertarians in positions of any type of power in the United States. So, like, what's it like in your town?
It's a great question. It's a great question that doesn't get asked enough, I don't think. So it's interesting in the sense that we have a lot of theory and philosophy and things, and then you get put into a position where you actually get to practice some of that. And what I try to do, and to the best of my ability, is view it in a sense of if you had your local, we'll go really extreme, right? We'll go ANCAP commune kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
So you got these people, and you're in charge. They've decided that we appreciate your opinions, and you like to do it, and they want to set themselves aside and let people run some stuff. How do you bridge the gap between libertarian ideological stuff, theory, philosophy, and actually operating within a framework where you have to represent people? And the way that I view the council seat is I have a duty to do what's best for the town as a whole. And I do my best to do that in a way that also doesn't violate any of the principles that I have. Yeah. And it's challenging at times because you're in a decision-making capacity, but it's a great opportunity to do like good things, do good work. I was able to pass some ordinances the past year. Nothing crazy libertarian, but just doing work and put myself out there as somebody that likes to do things, opening lines of communication with people, and it has been a really interesting year and a half or so now of being involved at that level. It's been great. Yeah.
So you said your fellow council members were on board with you becoming vice president.
Yeah.
How did that work out? How did that happen?
Merit.
Okay.
Honestly,
yeah.
Merit.
Okay.
Yeah, I think a lot of people would be really surprised at the amount of work some of their local officials do. Opposed to some of the other ones, maybe. You got a full board of people, right?
Yeah.
And some of them are going to do more work. Some of them will do less work.
Yep.
When I entered it, I'm like, I'm going to just do work. It could be really minor stuff, like we need changes to town and mid code. It's still work. It's still things that have to be done. It's kind of dirty work, I guess you could call it, but it's still good work to do. And then there's been larger stuff. In our town, we have a water emergency, and we have people concerned about water capacity and all kinds of things like that. And I spent a couple months working on an ordinance that would handle a way to safely work within Massachusetts state law, 'cause I'm from Massachusetts, and safeguard our water supply and try to bridge the gaps on where we're at, what we can do for building, what we can do for access. It's stuff like that. That's not a really like flashy libertarian thing.
No.
But at the same time, it's just work that has to be done. And when you get elected to those seats, you have to do things. And I've been super lucky they put me there. They elected me as I've been put in the position to be the chair of the Rules and Procedures Committee, which is super libertarian. But and I did a breakout session earlier today, and I try to emphasize that people that are in libertarian spheres, people that go to meetings, they know Robert's Rules of Order, and they know how to sell. They know how to work on that stuff and give those ideas, and they know the procedures. And when you know a lot of the rules, it gives you a lot of leeway with people because you just understand how things work and operate. It's great. It provides a lot of access to stuff, and I tried to push that today in a breakout session as well.
Yeah, that's very interesting because there are a lot of libertarians that, I know that are insanely into the details, into Robert's rules, know the bylaws, know all the rules on how to get all these things passed and what have you within LNC bounds. And that's not my thing. I can skate by, but I pretty much just stick to my lane and then do what I'm told at that point. But
sure.
A lot of libertarians don't like to do that. So it's interesting that you're taking on a few different roles within your particular township, and
it's kind of like a direct transfer of skills, to be honest. And if you asked me a couple of years ago if that was something I'd do, no. I mean, I'd be like, why did I do that? But through having to run affiliate meetings, local affiliate meetings, moving up to the state board, I'm the Massachusetts chair at this point. I'm in my second term. Having to run those meetings, learning those skills, and working your way through that, it actually kind of gives you a bit of I don't want to say quite a trial run because you're doing work for the LP, but at the same time, it transitions to like an actual office seat where you know what's going on and you know how the order of things go, and you're able to use that in a positive way, which is something I try to always do. I don't try to go crazy with Robert's rules, right? I try to keep a balance. Meetings have to run efficiently, but you also can't break, open meeting laws, and we can't break some of that. So, my role right now, and we have a great president in our town, and what I've told him is like, I'm your support system, and that's my role as your vice president. I support you in our council. So whatever I can do to help you be a better president is my role, and I'm totally cool with that. I like doing that stuff. And part of what I bring to that is an understanding of just kind of how meetings run, just because I've done so many of them and I've had to run them myself.
Yeah. Experience is a massive thing.
And it really is.
It's super helpful for, just gaining confidence in a role, like just in general, and being able to have the confidence to decide to take on a role in your local community if you're, part of the LP leadership or whatever. Like, that's a good stepping stone to get to your locality.
It really is, and I'm trying to get that across to people that if you know the rules, understanding of rules provides you credibility. Yeah. And once you display credibility, people will take you seriously, and they'll look at you as somebody that is able to assist things, move things along. It goes a long way, and that credibility is something that can be built by pretty much anybody that has an understanding, and we need to kind of get that out more, that it's something that we, as Libertarian Party members, are able to use in a positive way, that you can like find yourself in a role that provides something for your local town, city, whatever that may be, but just local boards. The average American doesn't know how Robert's Rules works. They have no idea what that even is.
They never even heard the term.
No. Yeah. But if you can show up and be positive about it and supportive with it and just offer constructive criticism and things like that, like, it really does go a long way in advancing either yourself or providing credibility to something, or just maybe even it's just assisting your town in more efficient meetings. Like, it really could be anywhere. Yeah.
Do you read the Tuttle Twins stuff or have them for your kids at all?
I got them for my kids.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, my daughter likes them.
They should do Tuttle Twins presents Robert's Rules of Order.
That would be absolutely hilarious, and I fully support that. I hope they don't make it as dry as it is now.
I think that's the point, that
right?
you'd be able to explain it in a friendly, fun way to kids and adults who have no interest in this topic.
Could almost sell it to just adults.
I think
but
you
yeah,
probably could.
that's a
sell it to
great
adults.
idea.
Like the teen version, you know, how they do teen stuff. Yeah.
I would love to be able to give a libertarian a book with basically comic strips of how Robert's Rules of Order works. That would be on so many levels just a great thing to pass
Dude,
around. That's a great idea. That's hilarious.
would
That's so
buy that
good. The
way
more I think
sooner.
about it, the better it is. Yeah. So
I'd buy
good.
that way sooner than I'd buy a book that Robert's Rules of Order.
Yep.
Like I don't have that book. I've opened it 2 or 3 times when I first joined the party because I was super passionate right off the get-go, right, you know, at the get-go, and I died super quick. I was like, I can't, if this is what being a libertarian is, I can't do this.
I am amazed at how in-depth some people's knowledge is because it's unbelievably dry material to read through. And then to have the callback ability to bring that forward is, for some people, it's kind of impressive, as much as I kind of hate to admit it.
Yeah.
It's kind of impressive. But most of it is the way you keep order and the way you do your meetings and like amending things and putting orders forward, and I don't know how you adjourn a meeting. Like it's the average American doesn't have experience with it, so just that little bit, the little sliver of it, even if you can just get through a local affiliate meeting, is almost more than some, like, you know, council or select board or aldermen really understand themselves. So
Yes, 100%. Earlier you mentioned having to like walk the line between doing what's best for the town as a whole, but not violating your libertarian principles. And so we have an interesting race in Montana right now, just north of us in Great Falls, where it's somebody who has libertarian leanings and somebody who is a libertarian running the same race, and are trying to outdo each other in the primary, basically.
Interesting. Okay.
We have open primaries in Montana, so
Okay.
anybody, even if you're not a member of the LP, you can go in as a
Throw your name in the
libertarian
hat
candidate.
and
It's
see where it
awful.
goes, right?
It's
Okay.
really bad. And so they're running against each other in the primary, and the non-LP candidate hates how the other guy basically said, I'm going to do what's best for the town without doing exactly what you said, without violating my principles with the Libertarian Party. And because this guy is more of a purist, he wants, you have to do everything exactly how your principles are. Otherwise, it's not going to work, and you're a traitor to what you believe.
So, a couple things on that's a really interesting thing to even break down. So, my seat is nonpartisan.
Mm-hmm.
So, while I would consider myself to be libertarian, it's a nonpartisan seat, and what I try to do is really hold on to the fact that it's nonpartisan.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have to necessarily walk an LP line. So then you get into what your personal belief system is and what your goals are and how you do that. So I can give you a great example of something that I've had to deal with that would 100% violate libertarian ethics, but was beneficial for the town, and it's a terrible decision that I had to make that I don't like. I still don't like it. I made it months ago.
Yeah.
But you have to consider your seat, and not because you want to keep it, but because you represent people.
Right.
So in Massachusetts, we have a zoning requirement where there's towns that are that abut a transit line, a commuter rail line that goes to Boston.
Mm-hmm.
The state's goal is let's fill these towns in with buildings so people can get on a commuter rail, take the train to Boston, and go to work.
Yeah.
So they put in this zoning mandate that says that you have to build X amount of X amount of homes, and they require it only for it's a little over 100 plus towns. We have 351 towns in Massachusetts.
Okay.
So they put this in, and their kind of carrot on the stick is, well, there'll be some grant options for you. So some towns didn't do it, and they got sued immediately.
Whoa.
So they sue them. The towns lost. They sued it over a unfunded mandate. Because if you really look at it, if you build, for us, it was 1,400. It's 1,400 homes you have to zone for. If you build that, what does that do to your fire department, your police department, your DPW, your water supply, your sewer supply, your schools?
Massive amount of infrastructure.
Enormous. Yeah. Totally unfunded. I disagree with the ruling by the court on this entirely. But it passed.
Mm-hmm.
So with that knowledge that the fastest way to remove this mandate had failed, and this was in front of us again, I voted in favor of it because it gave us some grant funding. And the reason for that is we also have people that don't want to raise their taxes. So if we can't pay our bills and we can't fix our roads, we can't also just totally get rid of any grant access as well.
Right.
And while there was a small amount of grant access attached to your zoning, there's plenty of other grants that states give out for all kinds of things. They went after a different town for $1.2 million to fix an area that was flooding to protect a neighborhood, and denied a town the ability to fix flooding through a grant program. So they were basically, my interpretation is the state is fine with flooding your neighborhood and if you won't pass their zoning requirement.
Right.
So for us, it was like, well, we don't have money. We have infrastructure problems. We are under a water emergency right now that won't be alleviated for another month or so, a couple months. And most of the people that I really represent and the people that really supported me and things like that, they don't want more taxes. So do we lose grant funding in favor of removing something that we're going to get sued over, but also probably lose on, and we're going to have to pay legal fees on? And who pays legal fees? The residents.
Yeah.
Or do we suck it up for 6 months and we don't approve anything due to a water emergency? So I'm kind of using what's going on for a tool. No approvement, approvals of permits and things like that for 6 months under water emergency. Make sure we have access to funding because we're compliant technically, and basically hope in November our governor gets voted out or a ballot initiative passes,
Right.
Or I spike it completely and we just get sued.
Yeah.
And I'm like, both of these options are awful.
Yeah.
Neither of them are quite libertarian in the sense that, like, one side is you're agreeing with the zoning requirement, and the other side, the end result being, is going to be a tax increase to pay for things because you no longer have grants. So as a libertarian in that position, I'm like, well, I'd rather try to extend something and kind of play the long game with it a bit, and make a smart decision for people that I represent versus being, well, purity says the state doesn't and shouldn't dictate zoning requirements for a local town. They have no right to do that, even though it's been decided by the court that they do, regardless of my opinion.
Yeah.
And it's an interesting thing to sit in the seat and have to weigh these options and be like, what's best?
Right.
What's best? And anybody that's looking to work with residents and work with their citizens to make smart decisions based on the circumstances and the context of what's happening right now is a more reasonable candidate than somebody that's going to be up there and say, purity test this, purity test that.
Right.
It's not how it works. It's unfortunately not how it works.
Yeah. Yeah. The purity thing, I think, is a massive hindrance to any type of progress, like incremental progress. I think, so many people talk about ending the Fed, ending Medicare, ending Medicaid, ending, Social Security, and just done. Like, not sundowning it. Like, all these people were promised a bunch of things for a long time. Just like cut it entirely right now. And like, I understand the libertarian principle behind that, but these people thought they had a contract with people in the government saying,
exactly,
we will give you money. They don't have libertarian principles. You need to honor the contract that they thought they had signed. And so, like, while, like, for me, I would want to end Social Security, I wouldn't do it instantly. It would be a slow sundowning, and it would be for people of a certain age, basically, that kind of thing. So, like, it's not perfectly in line with libertarian principles where it just ends it immediately, but it is more human and allows, I think it's maybe more ethical approach to it than anything else.
How do you tell people that the government was going to protect them, right? These people are like swamped in all kinds of propaganda for decades.
Yeah.
They're told they're safe. They're told they're going to get their money when they retire, and everything's protected. And I totally agree with you. As somebody who's unfortunately on like a state disability due to my job and
call her back, please.
And protections that my job supplied me as a firefighter, I'm out on disability due to work-related stuff. And if they turn around tomorrow and like, well, yeah, we're going to institute libertarian policies and we're going to take away all the protections we gave you tomorrow, and I went into that job knowing if I get injured on my job, my family's protected. What does that do to those people? What is that, and it's very similar to Social Security. I don't agree with ending it immediately. I don't agree with Social Security either, but I completely agree with your position where like, yeah, you got to roll it back. How do you sell it to people that when you say there's nothing there now suddenly, like good luck. These are elderly people. We've had such a dismantling of the family unit in America, where we don't have we don't have multi-generational homes. We don't have those things, and like, we have a real problem with ignoring the reality of certain certain decisions that would have to be made under like a purely libertarian-esque system.
Yeah,
and
sure.
that loses people. It really loses people when you try to discuss those topics.
Yeah, it's something that gets debated all the time in libertarian circles, and it's one of those things where it's kind of a waste of time until you're actually in a position to do anything about it. It's just arguing philosophy just because libertarians like to argue.
100%, and that's what So I had talked to part of the reason I even had a breakout session was because Pat Ford's the chair of the convention committee, and what I've been trying to get across to different people, including him, but like we need to have a space where elected libertarians can connect with each other and say like, you're actually in a position to do things. Like, how are you handling it? Because there's no conversation right now about this at all. And I would love for that to happen because it's more complicated than it sounds. When you hold those seats, you're not sitting on your local affiliate board. You're actually making decisions for people that affect their incomes. They affect their bills. They affect decisions they have to make. And we need to start to develop a way to bridge that gap to kind of reach out more to your average American and use people's experience in a positive way and connect everybody to see like, how's it going? Like, because no one really knows, quite frankly. Like, I can't find anybody that does, and I'm elected, so I don't know who knows, but as far as I know, no one does.
Yeah. It's one of those things where people tend to treat libertarianism or like political philosophies as some type of moral philosophy where it should just stick to politics. And if libertarianism is your moral philosophy, you need to dig a little deeper and have a different framework for what morality is than a political agenda.
100%. I don't know how there's a lot of people, and this is going to be a very unpopular opinion, but it's been something that I've been saying this weekend more than probably any time in the past, is we have quite a few people that are only able to operate in a dysfunctional manner because there's a government in place. It's not an absence of governments that allows them to act the way they do at our convention and the way that they live their lives. It's actually the government that funds everything around them that allows them to act like absolute clowns 24/7. So there would, for a lot of people, be a reality check if libertarian policies were just enacted. But I think when you're trying to grow and you're trying to reach out and you're trying to get more people elected or coalition, you need to take positions that work with Americans. And you need to recognize what Americans value and run your libertarian philosophy through American values to reach people. And you need to reach people on an emotional level first. You don't lead with your data nonsense and your numbers and all this garbage. Libertarians are an absolute outliner when it comes to this stuff. It's like almost an 80-20 split or so of people that are emotions first versus data first.
Right.
This is data first. This is not emotions first. And you got to understand how you connect with people and talk to people. And you can move things. But the way we've been doing it, I haven't been around that long. But the fact that it's been going on this way, this long, is crazy to me because I'm like, this isn't new stuff. So why aren't we breaking through in our own groups about how to communicate our ideas and values to like average Americans and move the needle? It's troubling, but we just keep trying and pushing forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And little by little, man, like you make progress and then you get hit back a little bit, then you make a little more progress. Like that's just how life goes. And I think libertarianism, the fact that it is so, people are far more libertarian than they think they are.
Absolutely.
But as a party and as a movement, it's much smaller than it should be. And I think people lose sight. People get so stuck in their heads about ending the Fed and ending all these things that they forget that it really has to start super small first. And like they think, oh, because we've been around for 50 years, we're already big enough to make the big changes. We're not. We're not even close.
Not even close.
And in fact, I think we've lost ground in the past 20 years.
Yeah.
And I think we need to take the reality check and go back and work more in your local community, work more in your state, and then build from there. Because I think we waste a lot of time and resources on things that don't pay off in the way that our idealistic brains think they will pay off.
No, there's people that will accept losing because it's not perfection.
Yeah.
And you can't run politics like that. It fails, obviously.
Yeah.
And you do need to get out, at a minimum, like get out locally. Like you got to get out. If you don't know who your district rep is, or your town councilors, or your select board or alderman, or whatever your local government is, if you don't even know who they are, why are you complaining about Trump? Do you know how far away Trump is from your local community?
Yeah.
So unbelievably far away from things that actually affect you in real life.
Mm-hmm.
You got to find when your local meetings are, and at least sit in on it and figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
There's so many people that live on the internet and they just pay their bills and they complain, and it's like you got to get out locally and engage in some level.
Yeah.
Everybody's towns have open seats. Local elections, especially one like mine, nonpartisan, they're winnable. We have libertarians that are nonpartisan elected. We have a fair amount of them. And unfortunately, part of that is because the L next to your name is detrimental more than it is positive.
Yeah.
And that's a branding issue, and that's something that needs to be corrected. But it is achievable, and people just need to get out of their homes and off the internet and, quite frankly, show up in person and be like, and talk about the issues that they have locally, and get that across in a professional, polite manner that people will receive well. And you don't have to leave with being a libertarian. You can just simply have an issue you don't like and talk about it. It's okay. It's okay to do it. It's fine. So, yeah.
It is. It's been interesting. Me and my wife just moved to Montana last year. And one thing that I've found is so many people know who their representatives are in their state and their town council.
Good.
It's wild how many people know right off the top of their head, they know what that person thinks, they know what they believe. It's a weird, very small town mentality, but it's in a lot of the state, from what I can tell so far.
That's a good thing, because I have people in my town that don't know that I live in town. You know how concerning that is when they're complaining about how much money I make. It's a volunteer role, by the way, and also that we don't live. It's just, that's a really good thing. So is it more stable in your area, political wise, or just people just more aware of the local politics? People
are just more aware. It's very topsy-turvy still, and there's still a lot of corruption, but it's because people are good at PR. It's interesting.
PR is a fascinating social thing.
Yeah,
it really is. I've been on different sides of it, and it's really interesting, and it's not shocking that we're not great at it, but those that are great at it do a very good job at it.
Yes, they do.
And I wish we could improve on it, and it's 100% doable to improve on it. But yeah, it's not that hard to rile people up for an issue. It's not that difficult to, tell people that they're getting money under the table. People want to believe things aren't the way they are if they're not going well. And sometimes it's just simply people make bad decisions.
Yep.
And it's just the way it is. And there's nothing underlying that. And you have lack of people showing up to stuff.
Yeah.
And those who show up are the ones that control what's going on. So if you don't want to show up to your stuff, you don't want to show up to your local meetings, whatever LP stuff, you don't want to show up and vote. There's people upset about the last 48 hours or so. We got a low delegate count. People didn't want to come. And it's the way it goes. But
massively low compared to last time.
Yeah. Very unfortunate.
Yeah.
Regardless of the outcome, just unfortunate turnout for something like this. But yeah, people got to show up. You got to show up. You got to know who's running things. You got to know what's going on locally. Don't live on Facebook to do it. Go show up yourself and listen.
Yeah.
Or if you can't make it in person, at least find the YouTube feeds. Tons of towns and cities have YouTube feeds. You don't have to leave your house for that.
Nope.
So it's just paying attention to what's going on, because those are the people that control your bills, like your property taxes, your water sewer rates. They're negotiating maybe your cable contracts, your internet contracts. They're negotiating, all kinds of, like, there's tons of stuff going on locally, and people are just not interested because they focus on whatever's going on nationally. And the reality is like, that doesn't affect you that much.
No, definitely not as much as local things could affect you and improve your life. Sean, I feel like we could talk all night, but man, I'm wiped. So I think we got to call it quits for the day.
I hear you, man. You want to do a plug real quick?
Yeah, please do.
All right. For anybody watching, please check out AmericanLiberty.info. It's the American Liberty Caucus. We started it within the Libertarian Party. Lots of libertarians. It's conservative leaning. We're open to anybody. We're not doing purity tests. We don't do that nonsense. We just try to bring people in that like to do work. So if you have candidates locally that are just good people, they're good candidates, and they like small government or minimal government, they like to respect private property, they like to, we want to push candidates and help people out, do phone banking. If you're an affiliate, you can reach out about bylaw questions. We have people that are amazing on bylaws. If you want to run for a position, we have people like myself that have been elected, and I'm more than happy to help people that get elected to stuff, and try to push the needle just a little bit at a time. So check out the ALC, the American Liberty Caucus, at AL Caucus on X, and we like to hear from people. So I appreciate you having me on. I know you've been having a long weekend, man, but I'm so happy to jump on with you again, and I hope we can do this again really, really soon.
Dude, me too. We got to have you on the actual show at some point again, and maybe you'll get third in trivia rather than fourth.
Dude, I'm so bad at it. It's embarrassing. But I'd love to.
We're all bad at it compared to Nick and Zane. If Nick's on, I'm toast. Like, it's impossible to beat him. The only people that sometimes beat him are the audience, and it's because there's 30 of them. Right. Or 100 of them, or whatever the audience is that night. So, Sean, appreciate it, man. Appreciate all the work you've done and what you're doing in your town, because that's it's important stuff, and more people need to do stuff like that.
Thanks, man. I'm so happy I got to run into you this weekend and meet you, and appreciate it.
Heck yeah.
Thank you.